folks.
Okay.
Oh, it's still too loud. Sorry. Because it was that. There we go. Much better. How you guys doing? Got Phazor here.
Heyo.
And I'm back. I'm back after not being alive.
Back.
Oh, yeah, not being back. It's been so long. so
How
long.
long has it been?
So long. I have missed I've missed streaming quite a bit. Missed playing video games. Yeah, I just missed being around. Well, I missed you a little bit.
Yes, I'll take it.
Just a little bit. But yeah, it's just it's been not the best start to my year. I hope your year has been quite nice. We had some plumbing issues. Some plumbing issues in my house. Has been very fun, let me tell you.
Can confirm. It is fun.
Not fun. Not fun.
Well.
There's been sewage backup stuff and just general unpleasantness. So, some health issues. My family, with even me, like I just had this lingering sinus thing. So I'm finally feeling better with that. So yeah, just a whole slew of reasons to not really do much. We're back! Woohoo! And we're grinding. We be grinding.
You see me grinding.
We grinding.
Grinding.
Gonna grind me dirty. That's how that goes, right?
I'm 100% sure that's how that goes. Yeah.
Neat. Alright. Alright.
Alright.
Oh, did you already complete this thing for me?
What thing? Yeah, I did.
Oh, thanks.
I just can't hit the button.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think otherwise it turns into my vault level.
Ah.
I think so.
Oh.
I think so.
You learn something new every day, folks. We definitely gonna be running some vaults in a way bit.
Heck yeah.
Did you just pick up that rotten flesh?
Nope. I have noticed that occasionally things just disappear. They don't go down there, they just disappear. I don't know where they go. So
don't like that.
Yeah.
Rotten flesh is actually a little bit hard to come by at the moment.
Yeah, I had to get rabbit meat, and I got just enough rabbit meat, and
you threw it.
I threw it, and it all disappeared. So, out of rage, I spawned some in.
Nice.
Because it took me about 25 to 30 minutes to find and get rabbit meat.
I feel like that's
Listen, we're all having fun here.
We're having fun. We're playing on casual.
We're playing on casual.
Casual. How are your holidays, though?
You talking to me or stream?
Yeah, no, how are your holidays?
Oh, mine were pretty good.
I'm not sure if anyone's here on stream, so...
Oh, okay.
So if you're here, hop in the chat, say hi.
You get $50. $50.
Well, now, hold on.
$100.
Oh! Who's running this stream?
You are, I thought. Trust me.
Borrow your spruce leaves here.
Yeah, do your thing.
Hey, do your thing.
Okay. Yeah, they were good. I had about 1.5 days to myself to play games, so that was an interesting turn of events. But other than that, they were fun. Got to see my little niece a few times.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yep.
Is she a year yet?
Oh no, she's
a baby, right?
she's a baby. She
Baby.
turned 2 months on Christmas.
Aww.
Yeah. She's just a little baby.
Little baby. Hey, Flawless.
Oh.
Flawless, thanks for following. How you doing? Trying to find if I don't think I do. Yeah, I don't think I have a shear.
I do.
No, I'm gonna make it.
Okay.
It's just a lot of me running around trying to find if I have shears.
All right.
It's one of those things like I don't want to make unless I have to.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason.
Because you don't need them.
Yeah, I mean, well, like
for anything.
Except when I do, right?
I think a silk touch hoe would get you.
Yes.
Alright. Rotten flesh. Gotta find some rotten flesh.
Glad that's working. Thank you for that redeem. Hydrate. Gotta hydrate.
Oh, I have 9. Whoa, easy there, big fella.
I'm ready. G Fuel. No, it's just water.
Oh.
It's really kind of funny. I had water issues earlier this year with input instead of output.
My dude, this year was not very long so far.
Okay, last year I guess.
Okay.
The sewage backup happened over the course of like 2 years then, I suppose. I am thirsty, Flawless. Thirsty in many ways.
Should I go?
Do I make you Randy, baby?
That's good.
Yep. It's gonna be a sound bite on my board later on.
Later on. Howdy on, contest winners. Alright, I gotta figure out how to get... Actually, let's see if there's a fancy thing here.
Fancy thing?
Yeah, you know how I feel about fancy things.
What's your fancy thing?
Well, I'm just gonna see if there's like a recipe for successive P.
For rotten flesh?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's not. There's just killing things.
No,
but you know,
I already checked that out.
It's pretty cool.
Flawless, how's your year been so far? It's only been, what, 13 days?
Yep.
It doesn't escape me that we were having the plumbers come and fix things on Friday the 13th.
Ooh,
Spooky.
spooky.
It made me a little like, oh, it's gonna work out?
Better work.
Found out you needed glasses.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, fun's in the eye of the beholder there. It can be okay.
I mean, listen, the way you got to spin that one is now you get to accessorize with something else on your face.
Honestly, though, that is legit how I felt in 7th grade when I got glasses. I am not a contacts guy, partially because I have a weird thing about touching eyeballs. That's just like, ooh, freaks me out.
As it should. It's kind of freaky operation.
It's a little freaky. It's a little freaky, I think. I have an ender chest, right? I forgot about that. Do we have looting?
Oh. Like a sword?
Do we have looting?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a guy on the left in like the main area. Hello, creepy boy.
No, that's feather falling.
No.
Oh, that's fortune.
Oh, that's fortune?
Yeah, we don't have looting.
No, we don't have looting then. Hey, we don't have looting.
Set up a guy real quick. I don't know what this song is. Next.
Okay.
Sorry. But anyways, where I was going with the glasses thing is I've always felt that glasses can really frame your face and features.
Oh, I get it.
Kind of bring out your features a little bit differently.
All right, I'm gonna do something a little reckless.
So I really like wearing glasses, and I think a lot of people look good with glasses, just generally. And that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, that's true.
I'll give you that.
Hey, do we have... We do! How do I get in here? Ah! Oh, okay. Thank you, Flawless. I appreciate that. I think you're gonna look fantastic with glasses.
I agree.
Ah! So you waste of a dash there, but... Also, did they change? Can you not get stalactites and stalagmites?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I've done this several times now in different configurations, and I have not gotten anything.
Yeah.
I have not gotten.
I have not gotten anything either, and it's a real pain in the butthole.
Right in the hole.
Yeah, nowhere else. Just like hemorrhoid it up, you know? I'm down in a cave looking for zombies so I can slay them for flesh. But this is probably the cave that has 0 zombies because far
I have the zombie spawner.
What?
Have I not told you about this?
No.
Okay, come back to the base.
Okay. Luckily, with the power of creativity, I can come right here. Where are you?
I'm upstairs. Follow me! Woo!
Oh, I hit the ground. I'm good though.
Did you hit the ground running?
No.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. Don't go down there, though.
Okay.
I'm just here. Flawless, I'm just happy you're here, man. Go down here.
Okay.
Woo!
Oh, that's strange.
And voila.
Okay, well, I'll wait here.
This is the zombie dispenser.
So
Hi.
this is cool. Okay, see ya. Oh. Zombie. Oh.
Zombie. It's pretty AFK-able too. It's slow. I will say that. But the problem is the baby zombies.
You just gotta slab it up.
I know. I really should. Slab it up.
Lucky for you, I can go find slabs later.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean... Oh, sorry, now I'm talking to you. I'm talking to Flawless.
Oh, yeah, sure, no problem.
Ooh, looting 1. Looting can go up to 3, right?
Yes. Ooh, you got chainmail. What's up, chain boy?
Yeah, it's just... It's fun talking with y'all. It's kind of nice being a little bit of a smaller streamer sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's not because you're fighting for views and all that jazz, but I don't know. It's a hobby.
Yeah,
so
that's a kill for views.
Right. So, this ain't my job. It was fun having 1 or 2 folks on that you can talk to a little bit. Potato recovery. Potato recovery is for the potato launcher and create?
I guess so.
What is capacity for?
It says pouches, I think. But I don't know. I've never heard of that before.
Hey, do we have thorns?
No, thorns is only a perk now, I think.
Okay, so it doesn't work in the vault?
It only does if you like unlock that perk or if it's on your gear as like thorns chance and thorns damage.
But not the thorns.
I don't think the enchantment works.
Should probably look that up.
Or I should say I'm not sure, but my guess is that doesn't work.
I should look at the Discord.
Capacity is for create stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what.
I don't know.
I don't know. Ugh. Hey, can you tell me when it's nighttime?
Oh, it's nighttime.
Alright, cool. This is gonna be way faster if I just run around and kill zombies. Can't hold my breath. Ugh. Oh, dang it! I literally just popped out the top. I'll kill these skeletons.
Looting 2.
Heyo, 2 of those
no,
get you looting 3.
I'm gonna keep looking.
I got some bones.
Is that anything?
Is that something? Is that something you need? Alright,
Oh,
well, back into my hole.
Mahol. Yeah, you need to play Terraforming Mars with us.
Yeah, I do. But that's one of those games I have to pay attention to.
I mean, you really don't, though.
Oh.
I'm gonna change it to lo-fi.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do.
Do you?
Otherwise, Kazoo Boy is just gonna like rack up skill points.
Thing is, I pay attention, and Kazoo Boy still racks up the points, so it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, that's true. It is indeed whatever.
But there is a card called Mahol.
Mahol.
It's a city that you can make on Mars. I really like it. Mahol. Returning board.
Welcome back.
What the heck is a straddle board? In this game, I should say.
I don't know.
Fortune 2. Looting 3.
I'm gonna fly like an eagle
To the sea.
Fly like an eagle. You know what? That's a good point.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Easy. Somebody's a little excited to be back.
I'm playing a video game that isn't Pokemon on my Switch. I love playing Pokemon on my Switch, but it was not exactly as relaxing as I was hoping it was going to be. So, anyways, the whole point of getting the looting is to speed up the flesh acquirement.
Yeah, I've been down there for about 45 minutes now, and I only got 10 flesh.
You've been down there for like 45 seconds, my dude.
Yeah, I know. I got impatient. Well, we only need 16 more now.
Okay,
Ooh.
I have 2.
100.
I got 2.
Fly like an eagle. So one thing I did do whilst in my fever state
give it to
was watch Griffin McElroy's Legend of Fieri runs.
Oh yeah, those are
chaotic.
chaotic.
Very chaotic, but quite
Yes.
entertaining when you have a fever
Yes,
and you can't really like focus on anything.
it's very true. Yeah. I haven't watched any of their Mackerel Royale.
No, I have not seen any of that yet.
But have you listened to their Naming of the Year episode?
I did, yes.
Talk about a fever dream.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I was feverish while I was listening to that, and I was so confused. I was like, what are they talking about?
I wasn't feverish, and I was still confused.
Okay, I'm glad. Glad it wasn't just me.
Oh, that was fun. Oh, man.
What does it feel the vibe now? Is that what it is?
Yeah, 20,
Something the vibe.
20 Sun and Sea. Surf the vibe.
Surf the vibe, yeah. That's right.
I love how they all went from Travis, I hate that. That is literally the stupidest thing you've said today. To, but I hate it in such a specific way. It has to be it.
Hey, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Is there light coming in there somehow?
I don't think so. Why?
It looks very bright in there.
You look very bright.
Thank you.
Wait. Yeah.
Doesn't it look really bright in there?
Does kind of look a little bright.
Because they should be spawning 4 of them at a time.
Oh yeah, I left a.
Is there a torch?
Yeah, I
yes.
left a torch.
Oh, look at all those that just spawned. 2.
There were 2. Can I get out of this?
Why not? What'd you do with the glass?
I'm trying. Dang it, Bobby.
Put your hands on the wheel. All right, I can get it.
All right.
Okay, see ya.
I'm getting there.
All right.
Hey.
Cool.
All right. Hey.
Dude, that's perfect. 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 Look,
look
that
at
guy
that.
he fell right down.
We did it, everyone.
2 just spawned.
I think they're only gonna do 2 at a time because it's not big enough.
Oh.
I think that's the reason, but
yeah.
I may be wrong.
But I doubt
I doubt it.
Hey.
Oh man.
Ow.
Oh, sorry. This got sweeping. No.
I forgot that we weren't in a
team.
partay.
Yeah.
Partay. All right. This affords me the opportunity to figure out what I'm going to spend the rest of my skill points on. Vein Miner is good with Fortune, but Fortune reduces the number of blocks down to 2 to gain Fortune. So
You
I'm
don't
not
have to do
doing that.
Fortune.
Correct.
Yeah, just don't do Fortune. All right.
Did you know that heal only heals you for a single heart now, but the cooldown is 10 seconds?
Yes, although I think I have a second.
Oh, okay. So it'll give you a heart and a half.
Current, yeah, no. Current one heals 4. Cooldown
Huh?
is...
So you must be like 3.
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you
I
spec
am.
3?
Yeah, I'm on 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thought it was worth it.
It probably is.
It is for me. Let me put it that way.
Fair enough. I was also thinking of doing the cold snap.
What's that?
It's the Stonefall specialization, which gives you fire immunity, but it only gives it for 1 second.
I think it does it instead of falling.
Yeah, but I use what's it called for falling now?
The ghost walk.
Yeah, ghost walk. Did you get enough rotten flesh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm crafting the crystal now. All right. Flawless. I don't know if you've seen these stream. Oh man, we need 44 rotten flesh now.
All right. Well, when it comes to be nighttime, I'll run around.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen us play this before. I haven't played it too much recently, but hot dang, I am not great in vaults. I love playing these vaults, but oh man, I didn't even put looting on the sword. Phazor, what am I doing?
I don't know. I thought I knew, but now I don't know.
Oh man.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Streaming and gaming really kind of requires a bit of a desktop, unfortunately.
Chunky boy top.
I tried doing it once off a laptop and it said no.
Oh.
Are you sure about that? I was like, I thought I was.
But are you sure?
No.
Hey, that baby zombie was carrying zombie flesh. That's
Watch
weird,
out.
right?
Hey, that's weird. Hey, you like this janky redstone that I did to extend your pulse?
I do.
But it now fires twice. It's timed correctly.
I did another janky thing and put an observer halfway up, because it was just taking way too long to get any useful.
Oh yeah. Oh, you had it going all the way up?
Yeah. But I had 2 of them thinking, oh, they grow fast enough that, you know, it's not a big deal.
Wait, you don't have just like a line of them?
Nah, that was too expensive at the time.
We should probably change that.
Well, it's just one halfway up now, and it fires pretty good. Oh, why are there so many skeletons in here?
Flawless, don't fly away. Actually, someone mentioned that a while back on the source on that about I originally had 1080 as the output stream quality, and I think they were watching on mobile. They were like, what the hell? It's like, I didn't even know. I didn't know that was an option I could configure. I have since changed to 720. Hoping that... It's almost nighttime!
Don't sleep, don't sleep, don't sleep, don't sleep.
But I must.
No.
My bed, it calls to me.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Are there rotten fleshes in these jars?
I should have brought my elytra.
Yep.
Yeah, did you see, who was it? I think it was Zed's most recent create video.
I have not.
Okay. He has a different, a replacement for the elytra.
Oh yeah?
That is awesome.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
He's very creative.
But,
you again.
You dare. Don't you dare.
I killed your spider, you fool. It's just a little bunny.
Just a little guy.
Oh, there's camels over here. I expected this place to be...
Big camels?
Yeah, camels. Like those hump boys.
Hump de bump.
Say that you bumped there, hump there, hump there. But yeah, camels, yeah.
It's a different song, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah, I got lost. I thought there were gonna be tons of husks over here.
Husk.
But I don't see any husks. I see skeletons. I see creepers. Lots of skeletons.
Gonna die.
Don't do that. What the heck? This is like Skeleton City.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying.
Is it? I'm just gonna go over here.
Hump de bump do bada. Oh no!
Aha! Zombies. Excellent.
It's just too much grass. Honestly, I love these biome fixer mods, but like, it's
Grass
just too
sucks.
much grass. Well, and specifically because it prioritizes me hitting the grass before it hits
Yeah.
the mob.
It is a little absurd. I'll give you that. Die, you spider!
The zombies.
Where have all the zombies gone?
Zombie, zombie, zombie. I can't do a lilt.
Yeah. I don't even know what that is.
Like, yeah, you can't.
That's true. Listen.
I do need a lawnmower mod.
Oh.
Or a scythe.
A skiff.
A skiff.
Spiffy.
You were supposed to destroy the skiff, not join them.
Nice.
I tried hard.
Well, it was wonderful.
What are you?
Me?
What are you? It's a coconut crab.
Oh yeah, get that out of there.
Wow, it's hitting me. Oh wait, no.
Kablamo!
Different game. It gave me coconuts. And then it's going away.
Where'd you get
Come
the
back,
coconuts?
Come back, come back, come back! Come back!
Baby, come back.
Freaking spiders. I hate spiders.
Yeah.
Also, especially in the vault. They just...
They are my least favorite thing in the vault.
Such a small hitbox.
Besides those ding-dang mini Gumby boys. I hate those things.
Although, I don't think we have those anymore.
Good. Friggin' Gumbies. The hell is this thing? Time to die, whatever you are. Oh, he shoots lightning! Ow, that really hurts. Ah!
Hey, what are you doing?
Getting whomped by a guy who shoots lightning out of his butt. Oh, I'm still on fire.
I just don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah. You and me both, pal.
Maybe it's because it's raining.
What's because it's raining?
The zombie spawn is
It's not raining. It's not raining up in this desert. No siree. There's just a freaky lad trying to kill people.
Freaky lad.
Yeah, he really got me. He struck me with lightning.
I'm gonna die.
Don't do that.
Well,
Think of all the levels, man.
Too late. It's only 13. There we go.
Hey, what's your rotten flesh count at?
I'll tell you in a bit.
Cool. Oop. Ah, it's bright! My eyes!
Alright.
Well, everything but the creepers and the spiders just died.
Well,
So that's cool. So you know, that's cool.
That's cool.
Oh, and this husk? Why didn't this husk
Yeet.
die? Somebody today tried to convince me that saying yeet was also an affirmative statement.
Ye might be an affirmative statement, but yeet.
That's what I said. And then I was like, you're younger than me, so you might be right about this. But I've never heard yeet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Affirmative.
I don't know nothing anymore. Something I've learned in this past semester of teaching. It's like I'm happily woefully ignorant.
Yeah. Well, then when I asked the person who sits next to me, who's also a younger guy, what yeet meant, I asked for a definition, or I asked for a an enactment, if you will.
Yeah.
And he chucked something across the room.
I mean, that's how I understand.
That's hey, and that's what I said. Thank you.
This bitch is empty.
Ooh!
Yeet.
Ooh! There's a trader on an elephant over here.
An elephant?
An elephant!
A dog.
What do you got over here? Come here.
Yeah, Flawless, I'm sorry. I always forget that it gets really dark when it gets dark.
I already got that guy.
I think there is a parallel mod I could do to do dynamic lighting.
Yeah, you could hold a torch.
Yeah, but I forget what it is. It's not Optifine with this version.
It's that other one.
Yeah, I forget what it is though.
Too much lighting.
I don't think that's what it's called.
Oh. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I am
maybe a little surprised.
There was a Instagram reel that I made of us mining and me almost falling to my death.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny enough, that's the best reel I've ever posted. It has over 700 likes.
Hey man,
of
you don't think straight down.
Can I get a clean take on that?
Sure. Me. You don't dig straight down.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure. If you need anything else, just let me know.
Yeah, it was the grass. Well, I mean, like I said, gotta get that grass cut. Gotta get that haircut.
I do have to get a haircut.
I just got one over break
Nice,
for the first time
nice.
since like before. Well, before Thanksgiving.
Since the before time.
It was necessary.
Yeah. Mine's becoming necessary too.
That'll be fun. Okay. Need a few more levels. I need to remember that I have a pouch. It's gonna take some getting used to here.
Oh yeah, you gotta bind it to a key.
What up, third viewer?
Nice.
Nice.
Viewer number 3.
I'm not calling you out.
I am. Is that a bad thing to do? Is that a bad thing to do?
A little confrontational, but
yeah.
14 attack.
They don't call me Confrontation Boy for nothing. Don't ask who called me that.
You do you? You want to run a vault?
Yeah, but let me bind something real quick. Controls, key binds.
Open the pouch? Is that what you're...
Nah.
Keep forgetting that we have ender chests now. Oh, what was that? I
spec'd into the freeze specialization for Nova. So I want to see if it's fun. Or the frost, excuse me. So it'll freeze mobs in place for a short duration.
Oh, good news for you, Phazor.
I love
tail.
What? Hey. Stop.
These next couple vaults are going to be a little bit easier for you.
Next level.
They are level 8.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Mostly because I died in like half of those holiday vaults.
Yep.
Because I didn't know.
Man,
listen, I didn't know what any of the packages were.
I don't want to look at any of my statistics for that. So it is rough.
All right, hang on. What do I need in here? Oh, stacking blocks.
Minecraft. Yeah, I play some Minecraft. We've been playing. I used to play a lot of Phasmophobia. I still kind of do, but one of our team members kind of is having some technical difficulties with interweb stuff. So he's kind of taken a bit of a hiatus, and means we have too. But Phasmophobia, we play some Deep Rock Galactic.
Heck yeah.
Monday? Yeah, I think Monday we're gonna play Deep Rock. What else? Play some random stuff. But we had play some Fall Guys. Play some Terraforming Mars.
Y'all had a what's that game? The one where you walk around and you collect things and you fish and stuff.
Stardew Valley, yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a thing.
Hate those.
How do I do this?
You gotta right click it on there.
No. We need to be in a team.
I was just kidding.
Team create. No.
No. The vault.
I thought it was
Party.
Oh, party. That's what it was. I thought it was team for some reason.
Go team cool.
All right, now we have that party create, party invite, Phazor. There we go.
Boink. Ooh, you gotta up that heart game, man.
Jeez, is that all your armor?
Hang on, it's all armor. Hang on, before you go, let's see what this guy's got. Mosquito larva. Oh, he's got banana peels. All right, he'll be here. I don't know what they mean, but Heck yeah, I want a banana peel.
Tracy, thanks for the offer. I think I'm gonna have to decline for right now. All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just gonna walk over here.
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
Oop.
Right.
All right.
All right.
Cool. We entered a quote vault.
A quote.
We're going south.
Or, ooh, is this a lava one?
Don't forget. Yes. It is. Don't.
It's one of those. It's one of the chromatic things.
All right. Well. Have
You're
fun.
like, all right.
Hey, have fun with this.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
These
yeah.
guys,
All this chromatic steel. Yeah. But watch out, mobs can spawn in here.
Oh, right.
But you can also get a lot of this vault stone. I might, if there's time at the end, I might come back and do some of that.
Yeah.
Gotta get some of that sweet, sweet loot, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
No.
I had a dig site room, which is apparently like a 1 in a 10th or something.
Like a mine room?
No, with the sandy boy.
X marks the spot.
Ow. No, not a.
It's like
not
you're
X
trying to
marks the-
talk to me. I know it.
Yeah, I'm trying, but failing.
It's not coming out.
It's just the things that I'm trying to say just are not coming out. So I'll figure it out later.
We'll do it live.
Yeah. Good. Excellent. Cool.
How you doing?
Good.
Alright, I guess I will go west.
Hey, well, here's the thing. I got hit a lot.
So,
Ah, what? Where'd you come from?
3.
All right, I'm gonna have to do something about that. This room sucks. I'm skipping it. How do you get down to the basement? Oh, there it is. Ooh, Larimar. Don't mind if I do. That's how that goes, right?
Can special at ShopRite.
ShopRite can. I think they changed how.
That you know
Senior
all
more.
the stupid references that I know.
Yeah. They're not stupid.
I mean,
It's my childhood.
okay. I mean, same. I don't know why I said okay like that. So
Yeah.
I apologize.
Condescending way.
Hey, I'm sorry. That's on me.
You know what? We're friends, so it's all good. If we weren't, ooh boy,
Ow! Right in the kiss.
pow, would have got you good. Hooray! I know I can't break that, but how do I get in? How do I get? Huh?
I wanna destroy that thing. Just a sec.
All right, well that's interesting because I can't get in there. Oh well.
Do you need to try harder?
I don't think I can and have that work. Because it was one of those XP chests, and it just never showed up. Yeah. Weird.
Oh, I think you get vault. You get like favor.
Yeah, I did get that.
Now I don't know if they fixed the chests yet.
Okay. Well, so far those chests have had nothing good in them.
Yeah.
shots definitely fired.
No, shots not fired. They even know that.
Oh, okay. Shots unfired.
Yeah.
You take your shots back.
Shots.
Everybody!
Flawless, your Discord or mine? But that's overlay. I don't know. It's distracting right now. And this is a weird theme. I don't dislike it, but
it's aesthetically pleasing.
thank God for efficiency 5.
You're welcome. I figured, you know, he needed to say something in return.
Stupid. And I love it.
Yeah. Yeah!
Oh, I play, sorry, Flawless, I'm just thinking back. I play City Skylines a little bit too. I want to play that again.
Alright, I'm done in this dumb room.
Shots fired.
Hey, how you doing over there? Still mining chromatic iron and such?
No.
Okay.
I went on to the room to the west.
Cool.
Seriously though, water bucket super useful.
Nah, you just gotta get that. You gotta get that ghost walk.
Shoot, I was gonna say something. Oh, you see that they disabled whatchamacallit, ender pearls.
Yep.
In the vault.
Saw that.
And no more totems.
Yeah. They definitely made it a lot more difficult to get around this dang place.
Yeah, although, and we've said this before, each room is kind of like worth exploring.
Yeah. Or at least it can be.
Well, like, there's points of interest everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Cat.
Cat.
That's junk.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Wow.
You fizzled all over the place.
You made me fizzle.
Nice.
Yes, folks, that was a "you made me ink" joke. Repurposed.
Yeah, with fizzles.
Oh, ow. Ooh. Ow. Ow. Where are you? Get me out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
I forgot how fun this was. Ooh. Ow. Dang it. Stupid. Ow. Damn it.
Ooh. Ooh.
We're just having a good old time right now.
Got those freaking ghosts. I forget what they're called.
Wraiths?
Yeah. Man, those are annoying. Because
Oh,
they
yeah,
don't
they're
knock
tough.
back. Oh.
Sparkletine. Nice.
Wait, did that fizzle? I think that fizzled. Oh, okay. Some
Fizzle boy up
coins.
in here. Whoa.
Watch him fizzle. Watch him go. Ah! Ah!
Nice.
Where did you come from?
Where did you go? Where did you come from?
Cotton Eye Joe?
That worked out exactly how I thought it should.
Well, that's good.
Beep,
All
bop, boop, bop, beep,
Anyone
bop.
else? Want
No.
a piece of this? I swear.
Damn it! I'm sorry.
That was good. That was a good joke. That was a good joke. was here? Was it just that?
Oh, also be careful because if you get poisoned, you do die all the way down.
Wait, really? I did not
Yes.
know that.
Yep.
Don't love that. Is there a sub basement?
Oh, there could be challenge rooms. They're
Don't know
challenging.
what that means. Hydrate. Okay, we got time to hydrate.
Dang, easy.
I know.
Easy!
That the
Glop, glop, glop.
the water bottle of choice makes quite a noise.
What was that? What was that? Oh, I know what that was. Okay.
Let me deposit some of this junk.
Where are the dudes that spawned in from that?
Oh, that's always the scariest thing.
There's one. Get over here, you. Die.
Whoop 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 whoop.
Oh. Alright, that was close. I'm gonna have to spec up a little bit more in heal because 2 points, not cutting it.
Not enough, right?
Not at all.
I'm telling you, getting 2 hearts is minimum for me. Otherwise, that ain't worth it.
That's too much. Up. Okay, where am I going? South. Okay.
In the non sequitur portion of. Oh, damn it!
You don't say. I love this portion.
Just kill you. Hold on.
I'll kill you.
Punch. Ooh.
That
Just
idiot
gonna-
fell off a cliff.
Go that way.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Whoop.
Hey, don't die.
Trying not to.
Cool. That's all I ask. Two gold doubloons. Oh, man.
No problem, man. Thanks for hanging out. I really do appreciate it.
I think
and I'll see you around. Take it
I
easy.
think I am 1 vault meat away from finishing my bounty.
Oh, nice.
Heck yeah.
What do you need for your bounty?
Vault meat. Like 35 of them or something.
Have you must complete the vault objective,
Ugh.
which is like cool. All right, not gonna do that anytime soon.
Yeah, I was trying to do that for a while, and
Turns out that's kind of hard.
it's very difficult.
Whoop. Hey,
Good
I
chest.
shouldn't do the challenge room. Nope, can't do that. Let it go. Let it go, log. Let it go.
Just let it go.
That's fine.
There's a little lag going on here.
I know. I was noticing that too. I'm like, not the best time to be lagging a little bit here.
Yeah, it's not the best.
You find any monoliths?
Nope.
Me neither.
Wink, wink. Alright.
The monoliths don't need to be in the center of the room anymore, do they?
No, and they're small and hard to find. So
It's not exactly the best. So,
ugh, now I have to go down there. I saw ornate chests. How do I get down there? How much time? We have 10 minutes? Okay.
yeah, we got time.
Oh, well, that's good. Just gonna sidestep around you. Oh, he's got a bow. A vault shield. Yes.
Yo, nice. Whoa! Whoa! Wow!
How you doing, man?
Just this lag is killing me here.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Really having a hard time updating these positions.
Yeah, I don't know why it does it all the dang time.
I wonder if it's because we're kind of far apart.
Could be. Maybe there's a room that's got an extra amount of mobs in it.
Yep, okay. Great.
Cool, I think I'm gonna make my way downtown.
Walking fast?
Which of course means time to walk
Ow,
fast.
ow.
Oh, where did you guys come from? Is there a challenge room in there?
Careful. Challenge rooms aren't always worth it. Although you're a higher level than I am, so.
Yeah, but this lag is absolutely killer.
It's really rough.
Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Yes! Oh, man. Oh, nice.
How much time? 7 minutes?
Hooray! We completed our objective.
How does that feel?
Oh, so good.
Oh, come on. Ah!
What happened?
I'm so upset.
Oh, look, you got. If you look at your score, it says 2230. So is that how much XP you got?
No, I got 0.
Well, yeah, you get 0 if you die and come back in, but is that how much XP you would have gotten?
I don't know.
Let's find out. All right, I got 67 chests.
Got 42.
6, 50, 1100,
Like
1300, about 1700. Plus
9.
yeah, that's about right.
20.
12. 2200, yeah, that's about right.
20. So then that's like 1480.
That's. Hey, don't look at me. I'm gonna go get my snapshot.
What do you mean?
You can just pull your snapshot in if you die. It's like inverse store.
You should already have that, shouldn't you?
No, I think it's the level thing.
You don't get all your stuff back?
Not everything.
What?
Not after 10.
We're playing on casual though. You should get everything back. Your entire inventory, yeah?
I don't know. I'm missing some stuff.
What are you missing?
Pouch.
That's not on your person?
I have.
On your
I have.
slot?
No. Yeah, whatever.
No, hold on.
Unless it's in
not
this
not
chest.
whatever. We need to figure this out.
Unless. Aha! It was in this chest.
Okay, so you just never had it on.
Why? What? I thought I did though. Oh well. Okay. This might be like one of those. Remember the bugs we were running into earlier?
Yeah.
Where like something wouldn't spawn in.
I mean, do you have the rest of your inventory?
I have everything that I can remember bringing in.
Okay.
So.
I have a pretty light loadout nowadays, so...
Yeah.
I guess at some point I probably should build a gold farm.
For apples.
Although we can't craft golden apples. Well,
Nope. Well,
golden apples aren't used.
You can eat them in the vault. Yeah.
No, I think... Did they use vault apples?
Vault
now?
apples, yeah. Vault apples, 4 blocks and 4 ingots.
To turn into a golden apple?
Yep.
4 blocks, 4 ingots. That's not bad.
And a vault apple. Yeah, it's not as bad as the last time.
So yeah, I mean maybe that's a project for soon.
But you can't splash potion.
That's fine.
Yep. Saves you on gunpowder.
All right, roll it back.
Heck yeah.
Let's try not to. I'll try not to suck this time.
We got it. We got it. We got it.
Do you still want those banana peels?
No. No.
Probably should try and craft a helmet.
A helm? Wait, are you just wearing a netherite helmet? Oh yeah, you need one of those.
And boots.
Alright, we only got 3 this time.
Okay, nice.
Oops, I forgot to get my bounty. Because even if you die, it still stays.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
You got this room?
Nothing spawned out of the spawner. Oh, I just sort of went up here. I don't know. I can clear it out if you're
I'm going south.
Alright. Is that the cardinal direction?
It is not. Yeah, it's not straight.
Alright, west is the cardinal direction.
Oh.
Alright, cool. We did it. We did it. We did it. Why didn't that work?
Didn't work.
The freezing everything in place. Everything was continuing to move for some reason. Yeah, color me surprised. You did it. Ooh, there's a lot of Larimar over there.
Larimar just layering around.
Basically, just layering around.
Just layering around.
You know, Larimar. You know what it do. Just layers around. Larry boy, do 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 Larry boy. How you doing, man?
Just a few hidden pitfalls around here that I'm not ready for. People coming out of pile of woodwork.
As they do.
I need more help.
Alright.
Day.
Now, ladies.
Man. Ooh.
That was a pretty lucrative 9 Larimar ore.
Nice.
I'll take that. How many Larimar will I get?
Ornate chests up in her. I got a Gorgonite ore.
Hey, how does that work?
Well, I mined it.
Oh, sorry. Not that. I got that part.
Are you sure?
I'm still a little fuzzy on the details, but I'll be alright. I don't need those. Alright, that's it for this room.
Alright.
Now, ladies. Do your thing.
Okay. Now what?
Damn it! That's it. Now I'm mad. Now I'm mad!
Me too. Yay! But these gilded chests.
Heyo! Alright, next room.
You just need to technically open the chest to like loot it, right?
Correct. You mean for it to count for your XP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got that. Was there anything else down here? That was another spawner. Okay, cool. Our gilded chests.
Guilty boys up in here. Whoa.
Whoa. See, I said it too. So
I'm
cool.
Yeah,
I'm like as cool as you.
basically.
All right.
Ah, you idiots. You fell down.
Much time? 18 minutes. Playtime.
E minus.
Oh, do I want to go upstairs?
Of course I do.
I don't know. Upstairs is scary.
That's true. Hey, that's true.
Hey, that's true. Some of these I don't even know how to get upstairs.
Yep.
That's it?
I need to find some coin piles, man.
that. Just in general.
Yeah, I mean they're useful for crafting.
You need gold for everything.
Gold.
Gold. Jold.
Jold, if you will.
I won't.
Oh.
Over there. You know what I wish, I know you can make, dripstone, dripstone blocks.
Yep.
With like 4 of the, whatchamacallit? Pointed dripstone.
Yep.
I really wish you could unpack dripstone blocks.
To get pointed dripstone?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I agree with that. Time to write a letter to the devs.
Yeah. It would just be like a recipe crafting. Fitting. Oh no. Out of room. Oh, zombie!
Zombie Nation. Alright, is this... Ah, okay, there we go.
Okay, well, that's good enough. Oh, I'm so excited to sleep in my own bed for the first time in
Yeah.
weeks. Should I go downstairs? Probably should. Probably. Oop, didn't mean to go that way.
But look at you now. About the same.
Hmm.
What do we got? 14 minutes? Plenty of time.
Didn't go down.
Didn't go, hey, didn't go down.
Could be fun.
I like fun.
No, you
Probably.
don't.
Oh, that's true. I hate fun. That's what got me so far in life. Hating all fun.
I wish I could be like, just kidding, but
Yeah. Hey, I know myself.
big thing. Socrates really locked
Built
that
Rome
up.
in a day. Yeah, you know.
That's
Oh, man.
the phrase.
Pretty sure that's the right thing.
Yeah.
How come the gilded chests I find are always trapped?
So,
I guess so. Gonna step around you. Hooray! It's not trapped.
ooh, alright, there's more. Ooh, you got an arrow. Oh,
An arrow to the chest.
God. Eat these wraiths. Just kill
Uh-oh.
'em.
I thought there was-
Me,
Killing me.
killing me softly with his song.
Yo, sing it.
Ah! Ah!
Alright. One more room west. Ensign Patrick. Which way is east?
Does he
Hey, still
actually
no
say
luck on...
ensign?
Yes.
That's really funny, actually. I never realized that.
Still no luck vis-a-vis...
Yeah, they
monoliths.
suck. I don't know.
I don't know if I just can't see them, or if I'm just not getting lucky,
Yeah,
but...
I don't know.
Oh. Oh, there's a little bench on this one. Time to die, bench. Oh, another poison chest? Is this a trapped vault or something?
I don't think so.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm just like close enough to a couple spawners, evidently. I get hit from behind a couple times.
Gotcha. Gotcha. How many hearts do I have to give up? Oh, only 3? Done.
Coin piles.
Nice. Get those coins.
Get paid.
Get paid in coins or gum. I wish I was paid in gum. What? I wasn't even close. Alright, I'll just check the downstairs real quick.
10 minutes?
Yep. Alright. Regular chest, not worth. Regular chest, but this fizzle spawner fizzled. I hear you. Go away.
Ah,
Nobody wants to be your friend.
no!
Damn it!
Ah!
Okay. Well, that's neat. Oh, I didn't add up my scores.
You fool.
I know. The worst.
Alright. So upset. Like, need a calculator.
I got around
Play this
1800
game.
that time. That's 4,000 vault XP, man. Over 2 vaults.
That's pretty good for you.
It is pretty good.
It is
I'm
pretty
just-
good.
I'm just keeping a tally. Although, what do I need? 15,000.
Yeah, that was 1,500 for me. Are you adding it?
I'll do it later. I'm tallying it up on a piece of paper.
Then don't do it now.
That's true.
Won't do it. So, I'm so upset. Yo, Asmin, how you doing? How you doing?
Looking for in here.
Thanks for that sub, man. I appreciate it. I gotta make some vault gear.
Yeah, you should get a helmet for sure.
Yeah. For show. Alright, I need vault alloy, diamond, and plating. It goes. Yeah. You getting some of that torrential rain out west? What goes into vault alloy? Chromatic steel. Right?
Yep.
And something else. Blood warning. Yeah. I'm doing alright. Finally out of the mess. We had a sewage backup. And I wish Twitch allowed for a little bit better way of just posting an announcement on my page or something. Because I felt bad that I was kind of leaving folks in the lurch, but vault ingots. Vault ingots. Vault nuggets. There are other ways to make vault ingots. Yeah, I know. I gotta work on putting an actual Discord thing together. Hey, go Meg. Evidently 19. But yeah, there was an issue with my sewage, the pipe, the main, and as a result, when we took a shower or bath in our house, the day that the plumber was coming, ended up flooding our basement. Which normally isn't like that big of an issue, except because it was already sewage backup. That means that was a bunch of sewage that came into my place. So luckily the plumbers were coming that day, but they basically said you cannot use anything that empties to the street, essentially. So we haven't been living in our house for a bit. It's all good now. We got them to, oh, we got a helmet.
Heyo.
Should I get some boots?
Heck yeah, man.
Some boots? I get some gold for that. And just some random stuff with, health issues and stuff like that. People getting colds and whatnot that just won't go away. Is what it is, but so but we're back. We're back.
We're back.
Part of the reason I was like, you know what, don't normally stream on Fridays, but I'm gonna do it today. So it feels so good to play some games and hang out with folks. Thanks, man. I'm excited to catch up on some streams here, especially yours. I feel bad that I haven't really been on much. +2 health. Okay. 4 armor, 3 armor. Okay. Okay. You do that. So what do I need here? I need Aqua Affinity. Need Breaking and Respiration. And I need Depth Strider. Does Feather Falling work in the vault?
I think so.
I have only Unbreaking on these. I need to do stuff. Hey guys, I need to do stuff.
Speaking of stuff, I gotta get my bounty.
Oh yeah, get your bounty.
Claimed.
Get your bounty back.
Hell yeah, that's a good one.
Inspiration. I need Feather Falling. I need Aqua Affinity. I need Depth Strider. I need more emeralds. I need many of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do I need? 6. Oh, I do not have enough. We need an XP farm, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Do I have XP bottles anywhere?
Oh, I think I might. Hang on. Oh, here's some.
I know we have some in here.
Oh, I just threw one.
Thanks.
Oh,
were you gonna give something to me?
Yeah. I just threw it on the ground.
Threw it on the ground.
My ground.
Yeah, I really do need to just make an XP farm now.
We have not been to the end yet.
I know.
It's just a fun fact from me to you.
Hey, I know. I'm aware. Alright, do I have...
I'm running out of durability on my boots.
On your boots.
Maybe
Baby straps.
Nice. Maybe I will.
Yeah, how do you repair them?
I think it's the same way as before, where you get vault plating, or repair cores.
Oh, right. Can you not put plating on things?
You can, but it goes over here in this artisan station, and then you can, like, you basically roll for durability at that point.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, but I love it. It's okay. Ooh, what's this? What do you think a mote of clarity does? Well, I didn't want to buy it. Oh well. Well, now I have it.
Great.
Great. Cool.
Oh no! Our other cleric turned into a zombie.
Shoot. I have.
Right.
Hey, I have golden apples, so we could make splash potions.
That's true. I got 8.
I have 4, so that's it. So that's a thing.
There's a thing. Well, the thing is, we need to make what potion of weakness.
Yeah.
Which is fermented spider eye.
Yeah, I think that's just spider eye and sugar, though, right?
Yeah. And do we need the weird potion for that?
The awkward potion? The
Yeah.
spider eye makes that, I think.
I thought that was made by the nether wart.
Could be. Sure.
Oh.
Oh, right.
I mean, I guess I should put these on regardless. Oh, wait. Yeah, I should totally put these on. Because it doesn't matter. I just need Depth Strider on. Totally doesn't matter if I use these in the overworld because overworld does not take any damage on durability. The vault here. Maybe we should go to the end.
Yeah, but if we fall off the world, it's gonna be such a pain to get all our stuff back.
Done it before.
That's hey, that's true. Also, we have to beat that dragon.
Yeah, you're right.
Which soon shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah. Hey, we're now getting 4 zombies at a time, so that's fun.
Oh, that is fun. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Asmin, how you doing? How was your holidays? How's your New Year been? Little guy.
Let me watch out for that little guy.
He's okay.
Whoa.
I mean, sometimes quiet holidays and quiet breaks can be nice.
Quiet people.
Talking to you, Phazor.
Okay.
We gotta try and schedule. I'd love to do an in-person D&D sesh with you, Kazoo, and Cinderlin.
I mean, you know I'm down.
I know. It's just scheduling.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you guys over.
Yeah, man. Any bat time, any bat channel. You let me know.
All right, tomorrow.
Okay. What?
All right, I need. Shush. Hey, are there weird biomes in the Nether? With
I don't know. I think there's probably similar stuff to last time.
Because part of me is like, I look up on a seed generator, whatever.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't think that'll work.
where the nearest like stronghold, well, Nether fortress is.
Yeah. I mean, we could test it out on strongholds, like you were saying. See if it works in the overworld.
I don't think it. I doubt it would work. I mean,
Debbie Downer over here.
just because the overworld. I mean, should we do it? Should we?
We could try it.
Here's our
Hey.
seed.
Hey, we could try it.
Here.
Just fly there real quick.
I don't see. I guess the seed isn't on F3 screen, is it?
I don't think so. I think it's in the.
I'm gonna have to.
It might be in the game settings.
I guess what I'm asking is, do you think I can actually get to it from the game menu, or do I need to go into?
You might have to do that second thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Let's change the input in that monitor. It was good. What for the amount of time that we were in our house before the calamity.
Huh?
It was fine.
The fallen time.
Yeah. People got sick right around Christmas, so had a quieter Christmas day, but then had a lot of folks come shortly thereafter. My in-laws came and such, and that was fun. But it was a bit of a whirlwind, and then everything kind of fell apart. So it's just a little bit. Let's open that. The seed in it. Not in there.
That reveals all curses on a vault crystal. Whatever that means. What happened to all of our diamonds?
I think we used a lot of them.
Did we?
Oh, Aspen. Magnifique. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Before this, yeah, I was doing, oh, Shift F3? Shift F3, should I?
Still looking for the seed.
So the slash seed, we'll give it to you in chat.
Oh, that makes sense.
You are proficient in the Googles.
In the Google Arts.
In the Googler.
The Googler.
The Googler. Click.
Oh.
Click. Okay. Hopefully I did that. Not the one. It's gonna be 1.18.
It's 1.18.
We are.
Oh.
Let's try the nether. What's this? Let's try. Oh, I think I probably should wear my elytra.
Where are we going?
Nay. Shoink. 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 Shoink.
What is going on?
What?
I don't know what's going on over there.
Me? Who?
Yep.
What? Alright, let's go.
Alright.
Wait, why did I take that?
Would you say we would need torches?
Where we're going, you don't need roads.
That's all well and good, but what about torches?
Negative 300.
Where are you? Negative 300.
But can I fly?
Yeah, but where'd you fly to?
I'm in the nether. Are you in the nether?
Oh. No, I'm not in the nether. That explains why you're not here, though. Ooh, should I wear gold, though? Alright, where did you fly to in the nether?
In the negative directions.
Okay. It's quite hard to see in here.
Yeah, it's tight, man.
I probably should have marked where we entered. Oh, I found the nether fortress.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Where are you?
Minus 259, minus 264.
Okay. Ooh. What? I have gold. Alright.
Now, where did we come from? Back here somewhere?
Where do we go?
This is not good.
Where do we come from?
I don't know.
Hi, Joe.
Alright, it's not the best thing in the world ever. But we probably came from around 0, 0, right? Something like that.
Actually, yeah. Gotta figure out a better bind.
Like maybe there.
Oh, yeah, okay. Just about there. Oh! Yeah, please.
Okay, so it's not here exactly. You didn't happen to write down where we started.
Yeah, like 0, 0.
Was it really? Because I'm
Yeah, that's
pretty
close.
much at 0, 0.
Oh, this is huge.
Oh, is it this? Oh, it could be this. It's this. Gotta go get some gold.
Alright. This junk.
Give me a junk.
Give me a junk. That doesn't sound as good.
Sounds interesting.
Let me touch your junk.
Sounds worse.
Yeah, much. Not good.
Golden boots. Do I have any like good golden boots though?
It's a drop. Alright. Alright.
Only gone and done it.
You made it funny.
Nice. Love when that happens.
Love when a plan comes together.
Hell yeah. Alright, I'm coming back. Stupid boots.
You want some diamond armor?
No, I'm all
Do
set.
you want some diamond horse armor?
Sure. If that's the case, then yes.
See? Aren't you glad? I didn't
Are
say
you?
orange.
A little bit. A little bit. Not gonna lie.
Banana?
Damn it! Is that like a special glass? What is this?
Why, this is
Monazite-
my special glass.
Monazite rod. Uh-oh. Oh, Blaze!
You're fine.
Would be if I could extinguish flames from myself. Or if I could do this.
Hey, you did it. Good job.
Not without, you know, fearing for my life.
This was gonna be a little bit more useful of a
Endeavor.
yeah. Another wart.
Well, that's good. We can, do a thing with that.
Really funny how this thing kind of spawned in here. Doesn't quite make a lot of sense how it did. Trying to find a blaze spawner.
There's two over here.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to
Oh,
find
jeez.
wither. This is how I came up with.
Jeez.
Whew.
I'm on fire!
Wow! Ooh, it's just dark. Yeah, this is so dark.
Oh, again? Damn it. Excuse me, mister. I don't want to shoot you by accident. Oh, I just walked right into that one. Didn't give me any rods.
Better is a bit better, yeah.
Lazy boy up in here. Whoa. Oh, magma cube.
Magma.
Magma cube.
I'm really surprised I haven't seen any wither skeletons.
I saw one, but I ran away because I was scared.
Boo, you coward.
Yeah, that's true. You know me, though.
That's true.
Ah!
Okay.
And collect, run out.
Do you want a blank rune?
No.
Why not?
Those things are the worst.
It was planned. Ow. Ow.
Oh, man.
Taste my sweet justice. Which is really more vengeance than justice.
Which is really more disgusting.
I'm withered.
Oh. Dang it.
Got a withered bone.
Must eat steak.
What do I get for... What happens with a withered bone? Oh! I'm gonna die.
Hey, not great.
Viewers.
You could have.
You know what's funny is
non-tombstone.
I wasn't fighting a wither skeleton.
Oh. Was that your last engagement before you burnt to a crisp?
Yes, because a blaze lit me up.
Quite literally.
Yeah, exactly. Alright. Let me set this thing here. Waypoint.
Cool. I mean, pretty soon within the next update, it's gonna like reset everything anyway. So.
Well, why would you say that?
Because I'm a
I'm
Deborah
a joker.
Downer.
I'm a
Hey,
smoker.
Is somebody shooting at you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I might have done you dirty here because I'm fighting these wither or these blaze already.
Yep.
Might have done you a wee bit dirty. But there's a good little alcove right here. Ah.
Yo, but that does sound like him, right? Ow, ow,
Yeah, that was good.
Ow, ow,
Yeah,
ow,
you got sniped.
Oh, and that's a clip, folks.
That guy.
Oh, you're a little magma cube.
Ow.
Oh.
Whoa, how'd he get behind me?
Gotta be faster than that. Hey,
Yeah.
it's my ender chest. Nice. You coming with me, ender chest.
You're coming. Come to daddy.
Come with me if you want to live.
Hey, Mr. Pig Boy, can you just like get out of the way real quick?
Ow, ow. You come in and grab all these hopeful blaze rods there.
Did you kill the guy?
I killed most of them. And I got
you sure?
fireball by a blaze. I think there's one left.
I killed him.
You can handle
Run.
one.
I can't handle one!
Teleport here.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Hey.
Okay.
Ow!
Oh, you gotta wear your gold, man. You gotta wear your gold.
No, kill the piglin. Why are you leaving a piglin there?
Because I don't want everyone to attack me.
There shouldn't be that many. How many piglin are there?
Like 4. Ow! Ow! I'm on fire! Sorry, I can't kill him. On fire.
Sorry, instructions unclear. Welcome.
Thanks.
How many blaze routes you got?
12.
It's better than nothing.
How many do you want?
I don't know.
Alright. I presume you ran all up in this hood.
For the most part, yeah. More or less just trying to find wither skulls, I guess. Like, you're still in the game, right?
Yep. Yep. Should kill that wither boy that was over there.
91, negative 270. So if we just go straight east.
Yeah, but I...
there's
Ouch!
another one.
Oh, shoot.
No one.
I just... Somehow a zombie came in here, and then I sliced a piglin. A zombie piglin. So, everyone's all mad at me.
Right,
Oh.
well, I left.
Alright.
So I'm
Work.
on to greener pastures.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
I found the next one.
Oh, yeah, where is it?
Like I said, just go straight east.
I ran west out of fear. Oh, I found it.
Oh, gas.
Oh, God! What kind of place is this?
Not good. Not good. It's not a good place.
I teleport here, and what happens? Skedaddle. Ow. Alright, cool.
I'm just gonna hide in here.
Nether Fortress 2, Electric Boogaboo. Hey. Ow! Stop it!
I tried.
Uh-oh. Pig somewhere. It's an oink
Pig!
boy. Oink boy.
Winky boy up in here. Whoa!
General P. Oink boy.
They call me General P. Oink B.
Oink P? Nobody called you that. Liar! What's this way? Oop, nothing. Okay. Just a very long, very carved in
The
hallway.
long and winding road.
Yep, basically.
Thought you were more of a Beatles fan.
I actually haven't really listened to the Beatles all that much. Yeah, not a big Beatle boy, if you will.
Beatlebot.
Yeah, not a big Beatle bot. Hey, I haven't found anything here. This one sucks. Sucks. And that.
You know what we really should be doing?
What's that?
Piglin bartering.
That's true. Do you get XP from that? I forget.
I don't know, but well, I guess gold is a little bit valuable though.
Yeah, a little bit. There's just a whole string of long tunnels.
Don't do this to me.
Oops. I guess I'll take all this glowstone. That's useful, right?
It's not useful.
Then I'll take it. Oh, there's a easy piglins mod in here that you can unlock with research.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Hmm.
I imagine that's just like
Easy villagers.
easy villagers, yeah.
Yeah. That's good to know. Alright, I'm out.
Easy piglins. Okay, see ya.
Alright. Because I wanted to do something else. What did I
Wanted to do something more fun.
want? I did want to look up.
I made it
s-
with my 12 blaze rods. Boink. Double doinked. Boinked it and double doinked it.
There we are. Right, with mechanism, we can turn skeleton skulls into wither skeleton skulls, which isn't very helpful.
No. I thought there was another way to do it too, but maybe that was the other game.
Maybe. I just didn't know if these withered skeleton bones don't do anything.
No, I think they just make bricks.
Huh?
They just make like bricks and blocks.
That's weird.
Page lantern, bone meal, interesting looking wither lamp, and that's it. They're more aesthetic.
Okay. I got 12.
I got 12 too, but I put them up here already.
Where should I put saddles and stuff?
I have some saddles up in this hood. Oh, you found it. Cool.
Did it! Oh, we have a wither skeleton skull.
We have one, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
A single skull boy.
Feel like
Ow.
with some ender pearls around here.
I have an eye of ender.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any pearls.
That's fine. I'll quick
Oh, I have one.
You're gonna need a couple.
Here, I'll throw it to you.
No, it's oh, that's so dumb. Alright. Good news, I've unlocked a bottle of enchanting.
Okay. That's good news. How much does it cost?
3.
Oof.
I know. Well, we can get zombification up here.
Where is this guy? Oh, there he is. Oh, you can buy glowstone. That's good.
It's true.
Time to die.
What? What did I say I was gonna do? Oh. I'm just gonna do it. Hey guys, I'm just gonna do it.
Alright, go crazy.
We're doing it.
What are we doing?
Going to the nether roof.
Alright.
Oh, hey, can you get me a flint and steel? That could be bad.
Sure.
I get up there and I can't get back.
In.
Yeah, never mind.
I think I have a spare one just laying around
I
somewhere.
got it. Useless!
Hey. But I found it.
It doesn't matter.
It was over here. No! It was over here! The other nether roof was so well positioned.
I know. Come on. Oh, alright.
I might need to fly for this, huh? I'll put that. Ooh, so slow. Alright. Where are you?
I'm in the nether.
Yeah, but where?
Look up. Oh.
Are you above the portal?
Close.
Did you fly up
Yes.
there? Oh, I see you.
I'm like out of blocks.
Don't worry, buddy. I got him. Oh, come on. Got him. We did it like friends. Like buddies.
I have half a heart.
Good thing you have a heal ability. You know, heal.
Raise.
Little pig.
Little pig.
Don't like that. Yeah, go away, you stupid little pig. Go tell your parents on me. Oh, he did. Oh, he did. Okay. Fun fact. They did push me through the portal.
Fun fact, I hate wraiths.
Yeah, they're the worst.
They really are.
Why you always dying? Oh, I found another flint and steel. Yes. I should
Feel good.
I do feel good. I don't have any obsidian, but I feel good. That's black stone. That doesn't help. Alright, I gotta go get some obsidian.
Oh, okay, we get it. I think I took most of our obsidian.
That's okay. I'll go create some more. The power of friendship.
Safety.
Power of friendship.
Sure.
Knew it. I'm pretty sure somewhere around here there was a lava lake.
Lava.
Lava. Where was it?
Okay. Welcome. Hey, do you remember what the top of the nether roof is?
135? I can look it up.
$127.
127.
Who will never see me?
Hence the ender pearls.
So this is actually not the highest.
Aha! Found it.
Go higher.
Oof, that was close.
Thought I could do this easier. It's because I'm actually still not high enough.
Can you take me higher?
Yeah. Huh.
To the place where blind men see. That was almost instant death. Deep scop scoop, deep dop doop.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful.
I know. The original song? Whew, primo.
No, I'm saying what you're doing.
Oh.
It's like art.
Yeah, basically art. Basically an artist at work over here. Zip zop, zoopy zop.
Says I need it. I have any food?
Mm-hmm.
How do I do this? Oh, I thought I had it. Problem is, this is my last pearl. Alright. Set a waypoint.
Good work.
Yet. Why is that doing that there? Yeah, actually. Keybinds for the mini map. Quick waypoint is plus. Let's try that. Doesn't work. Oh, it does work. Hey, that's actually nice. Okay. I should probably go to bed soon.
I was going to be.
It's 10. It's not like late, but...
Oh, it's late. It's that late.
Okay.
You know exactly what I'm saying.
Do I?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he knows.
I need ladders.
What happened to the soul sand that was down here?
What?
There used to be soul sand down here.
Where?
At the bottom of this pit.
What pit?
The one that we were digging through. And in and around.
What are you talking about?
Remember where the first place we went to get Vault Rock? Below your zombie farm?
Yeah.
I thought that used to be soul sand under there
Nope.
so that you could...
You had to swim your way up. Yep, because it sucks.
That's cool.
Yep.
There might be some Endermans out. I'll go on the Ender hunt.
Right. Well, no need. I'll just buy them.
These guys sell Ender Pearls?
Yeah, clerics.
Oh.
Clerics are useful, man.
They do sell Ender Pearls.
Nope.
Classic EPs. getting all asleep.
Alright, I had some bundles of sticks here. Where did they go?
Bundles.
Bundles.
Maybe they're out here.
Maybe. Also, all of this scavenger item stuff should get trashed.
Yeah,
Different every time.
Oh, don't trash it though.
Why?
They have soul value. So once we get a soul diffuser, we can throw these guys in the soul diffuser and get that many shards.
It's like you're trying to talk to me. I know it.
It's a thing later on.
Okay. Take your word for it.
Like some of these crappy ones, like blood vials, where it's only worth 1, we can get rid of. But then some of the good ones, like black mob essence or spider webbing spool, they're worth like 100. They're like 64 essence or souls.
You say
You
so.
know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Why?
Oh yeah, he knows.
Eat those spruce ladders. Blah!
The spruce caboose.
That's what they called me in high school.
Why spruce though?
Well, because I would spruce it up, you know?
Oh yeah, never mind. He's right.
My nickname was Spruce the Bruce.
Okay. It's an interesting one.
Not
Bruce the
not-
Bruce.
Not Bruce the Spruce, Spruce the Bruce.
Yeah, it was really confusing.
I know. You're telling me.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
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 He's right. He's right. I was telling him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the target block.
I'm just waiting for another portal to just appear out of nowhere.
Keep on waiting.
It's gonna be great.
Waiting on the world to change.
Let's see. I'm gonna guess. Which way did you go?
All right, we did it, guys. We did it.
I'm gonna guess that you went
The ladder works.
this way
I don't want to go too far. Where's home?
and this way. I'm gonna guess right here.
Feeling like the south would be good. I'll do a proper portal.
Come on. I guessed.
One of truth. Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Watch it glitches and goes straight back to the other one. I am very far underground.
Cool.
Hey, how much obsidian do you have?
Enough for another portal.
Okay, can you make a portal?
Yep. Let me go grab it though. Alright, what are your...
I need it to be at like -8 and 127.
Hey, get out of here. -8, 127. Alright, hang on.
I'm only like a couple hundred blocks, I think. Maybe 100 blocks. And then once you make it,
Hey, you want to know why you're underground?
because I'm in the ocean.
Yeah. I'll make a little platform.
Thank you. That would be helpful.
Let me get some platforming blocks.
Don't take too long. It's dark.
It's dark and I'm scared.
Maybe.
Okay, go away, stupid chicken. Alright, -8.
I'm gonna break this. All the light in here now.
Is there lava?
No. But there is some glow lichen.
Alright, -8, 127?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, you're like just barely off of
So
a good spot.
Light that up. That should.
Does it matter which way I build it?
Not really. Yeah, close. Light it up and see if you can get to the nether roof, I guess.
Did you break the other portal, or does that not matter, I guess?
I broke the other portal.
Alright, -8.
Hey there.
Almost there. Is it 2 across, 3 up? What is this?
Yes.
Damn it.
Do you not know how to make a nether portal?
I haven't made one in so long. Alright, moment of truth. Number 2. Hey!
Nether roof?
Nether roof.
What up? What up?
Yo, what up? And I come back at the correct spot, so that's good.
Nice. Always good to see. Oh, hey. All right.
Nice. Cool.
Hey, neat.
I think that's neat.
I just think they're neat.
Nice. I didn't know you'd go for that, but
I would. Had to try, right?
hey, man, I'm all for it. So, hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this a murder weapon? Get off my dick.
Hey.
Geode. This is ooh. This is very weird. I didn't know that amethyst clusters are a source of light.
I didn't know that either.
Isn't that kind of weird?
Learn something new. Every day.
You gonna learn today.
You gonna learn today.
All right. it, Bobby. I'm lost.
That way.
This time without the oops.
This time without the oops. This time without the froops.
Alright, I gotta be getting close to something here.
What's your Y level?
Is that the same cluster I just came from? Negative 42.
Oh yeah, you got a 40 plus 70 left to go. Actually 80. Yeah, 70. I'll give you the water.
Ooh, another amethyst geode.
Dang. You're just a geode boy over there. You're just a geo dude. Got him. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Did it, no regrets.
Regrets.
No regrets. Guess we'll have to make a Jold farm in there. And a rotten flesh.
yeah.
Gold / rotten flesh farm.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of part of the
Eventually.
reason I was like, well, we probably should do this.
Which means we're gonna need some turtley eggs, as well as
There's some turtles in that like beach area over there, right?
yeah, they should be pretty easy to find, I think. But we also need magma blocks, which just requires some mining. But we need a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
We might also want to figure out like the storage and such.
Although that stuff should work with the new storage thing that you just got, right? We should be able to pipe things.
Oh yeah,
Right?
you think so? Yeah, I think so. I haven't tried it yet, though.
Hopefully that'll be a lot easier. And sometimes when I dash, it just doesn't do it.
Hmm.
It's kind of weird. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong.
This is a deep cave. KB boy up in here, whoa.
This is fantastic content. Just being in the dark.
Just silently digging up.
Digging up and being in the dark. Premium content.
Primo.
I mean, I turned up the brightness. Y'all can't see shit.
Nice.
I mean, I can barely see anything.
Are you sure?
Are you sure about that? The diamonds.
Nice. Wow, you're still way down there, aren't you?
I mean, I'm almost at 0.
That counts. For nothing. Got him.
Oh. All right. Positive.
We found magma cubes. I'm swimming down to them.
It really is just such a shame of where our initial nether spawn is.
Yeah.
It just really is inconvenient.
The Crimson Forest.
Well, and not only a Crimson Forest, but on this like floating peninsula.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but you know.
Yeah, but
What are you gonna do? You win some, you lose some. And in this case, we lost. Big time.
terrorist one.
Yeah. AKA the piglins.
Mom was talking to me about, because I was calling her at some point in the last like week or two, and we were between houses, and I was like honking at someone because they were just being an asshole, an idiot in a car.
Yeah.
Checks out. And
yeah, I follow that.
and she was like, you know, be careful, you know, honking at people nowadays with like road rage and
Yeah.
people do weird stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but if I don't honk, then the terrorists win. And I don't think she found it as humorous as I did.
Good. I like it. Hey, I
thought it was funny.
Also, that is definitely a mom thing to say.
Yeah, it's
You shouldn't honk because you never know what someone's gonna do.
It's like, but it's the principle, right?
As I'm over here laying on the horn.
Right? Yeah. Oh, that's a bit further than I was expecting. Okay, that's not too bad. Hey, buddy.
Huh?
Hi. Bye.
Ah!
There you go.
Hey, buddy.
I finally emerged. That's
How's
not
it
too
going?
bad.
No, that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Maybe might make a bridge.
A rainbow bridge?
Probably not. Oh, did you happen to see Etho's last Hermitcraft video?
No.
It's very interesting because he's trying to really experiment with like different methods of movement. And so like he brought a... Are you doing this? Or is this me?
No, that's not me.
I can't tell.
Not me.
But now it is. Now it will be.
Yeah, it will be now.
I'm giving you ideas.
For sure. That was a mistake.
But he tried
Methods of movement.
a dolphin and then put slabs down and then waterlogged the slabs. Under the slabs, he had soul sand or soul soil, so that if your boots had the enchantment, you went fast.
Yeah.
And then if you kind of like went into fly mode, with your elytra on in the water, then it was in elytra. Turn on the elytra in the water, and then go on a stair or something. It would then activate very briefly the dolphin boost.
Yep.
And then you also had the boost of the soul sand enchantment, and you are just flying around this place. And it honestly looks like he sped up the footage, but I'm confident he didn't. It was just that fast. Because I'm pretty sure Grian and Scar then come over, and they are drifting off of his platform. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that is some intricate work.
Yeah.
Which I'm not surprised from Etho.
No, Etho's gonna be the guy to play around with that as part of his concept of the build.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Want some more of that. I got a stack of Vault Stone, stack and almost half Vault Stone. So if you want to
Start breaking it down.
play around with that,
Oh yeah,
it's all yours.
I'll break it down. Don't you worry. We'll see if your theory's correct. Because out of just under 2 stacks, I got 14.
What was my theory?
That if you collect it in the overworld, you get
Oh,
more.
right.
So if we get 14 or more, that holds well for your theory.
You got Fortune 3 on it, right?
I do.
I might ask you to sleep.
Ooh, that was close. I almost dashed my way completely off this thing.
Off of what thing?
The tower I made out of vault stone.
Oh, jeez.
I got 7
Out of a stack?
out of a stack and 22. With Fortune 3.
Hey, why are you messing things up?
I mean, are you asking the devs or are you asking me?
No, you.
Because what's it at the beginning? Didn't we get like a stack for like 2 stacks of stone?
I don't know if it was a stack, but
It was a lot though.
it's a lot more. Maybe they reduced the rate. Which is like, whatever.
Yeah, it's like,
Finding
guess
Vault
it's-
Stone is actually not that hard anymore.
guess it's their game or something. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So now with this, we can at least go to the roof. Start doing some safer nether projects.
Yes, you know, gold farm,
Bartering farm.
basalt farm. How do we get piglins up there?
I think you just need to create a platform for them to spawn onto.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
So being in the Crimson Forest is going to be the best for that, right?
Yeah, we could also do hoglin farming.
What would hoglin farming look like?
It would be
Like, what would that give us? Pork?
pork and something else.
Leather?
Leather? Leather, yeah. Which I haven't really needed leather, but you never
No.
know.
I mean, and your cow farm is kind of doing fine.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, can we get rid of these chickens in this cube up here?
Yeah.
Not yet. I'm gonna keep the chickens.
Oh, I said yeah.
Oh. Get over here, you chickens. Time to die. Ah! Ah! Oh. Wasn't quite as fun as I was hoping.
Never is.
We can't hit each other. Unless you disband the party.
We're getting there.
Oops.
Actually, really hurt.
Can we still,
You could've killed me.
can we still not hit each other?
I don't know. We could for a second.
Hang on.
there.
This is for science.
Ow.
I didn't do that one.
I guess not. It's funny. I like that we are trying to did this with the intent to get rid of the chickens.
Yeah.
Kill your horse.
That's your horse.
No, horse! I'm gonna kill your cows.
No! Fine, kill my cows. Does that actually work?
No.
No.
Kill your bees.
No. You monster! Just wait till we need to like... we need to give like 300 eggs to the vault.
I mean, this setup is so easy to make.
Yeah, that's true.
Hardest thing is getting a couple leads or something, you know?
Alright everybody, listen. If you don't want to die, I would recommend getting out of here.
As I eat my cooked chicken. It'll be later.
Later.
Later. You know how I said a half hour ago that I should probably go to bed soon?
Yeah, I heard that. How's that going for you?
Well,
Was that...
I think this is me trying to recommit.
This is the tipping point?
This is the moment.
For a moment like this. Scooby-Doo.
My favorite thing right now that I happen to stumble upon on Instagram every so often is a reel or two of when it's playing back the old CD collections of like real romance or like, you know, buzz ballads, stuff like that. And just the nostalgia of happening to fall asleep in front of the television and wake up at 2 in the morning to an infomercial on that. It's just something. I don't know if I would say I miss, but
it's something.
Yeah, it's that weird kind of nostalgic area where you're like, yeah,
that is something.
That happened. And with that, I'm gonna go to bed.
All right, yeah, I think I'll do the same thing.
Thanks for playing, man. This has been
it's fun.
Refreshing change of pace. So.
We did die in both the vaults.
I know. Well, and by we, I appreciate that you say we, but I know it's me. So.
Which is weird because I thought we could save each other.
Not on casual.
Casual.
Yeah. Not on casual. But anywho.
So be it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, dude.
I ran 2 before you came on.
Nice.
Perfectly fine.
So maybe it was me.
No.
Oh.
Usually I'm actually more careful when I'm running a vault with you. So.
Well, maybe that's it. You gotta be fast and loose.
You gotta get loose.
You gotta get loosey goosey.
Gotta get loose.
Gotta get loose.
I gotta stretch beforehand, I guess.
Oh heck yeah! Oh heck yeah!
Is that what you're saying?
Basically, I mean.
Basically.
It's a good idea. Don't want to pull anything.
Pull my hammy. I will see you on Monday then. Monday.
Oh yeah.
And,
Monday, fun day.
Something like that. Something like that.
You know it's fun.
Funny looking.
Heyo.
Heyo.
Hey, wait a minute.
All right, dude.
All right.
I will see you later.
See you, dude.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Appreciate you sticking with me, even though there was a long hiatus there. Gonna be back on the grind. This it's a fun hobby, right? So it's like I didn't mind being off, but I missed doing this a little bit. So I'll see you Monday, and hopefully Wednesday again. Term starts up on Tuesday, so it's gonna be wild. A lot of change in the last 2 weeks. That's all right. So take it easy and stick around. See you later. Bye.